We come out to rant and rave. We come out to misbehave. We come out to rant and rave. We come out to rant and rave. We come out to misbehave.
My name is Jamila Glean. I represent Soca Say So. And this is Deanna Andrews representing Dyschick, if you didn't know. And this is Rant and Rave.
Google me.
I want to introduce Ashley. She's going to speak about the space that we're in, Slope Lounge.
Yes.
Good evening, good evening. I'm Ashley. I'm the general manager here at the Slope Lounge. But the room you are currently in happens to be an old speakeasy from the 70s. It was actually rebuilt in the 80s, in the early 80s, by the owner of the entire building. That's the Dixon family. And he just wanted to keep a nice little, reggae, bashment, basement kind of vibe. This is where he comes to enjoy his time with his friends. So this has been a long-standing part of history for this part of Brooklyn and Park Slope and for the Caribbean community. So on behalf of the Dixon family, I want to welcome you guys. On behalf of the entire Slope Lounge family, I want to welcome you to the space. Feel free to enjoy the drinks, the food we prepared for you, and have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Dixon, that's so Jamaican.
It's so Jamaican.
So what?
And now we want to bring up New York City Small Business Services Commissioner Gregg Bishop.
Thank you, Jamila, and thank you, Deanna,
Yes.
for all that you're doing right now. It's so important for entrepreneurs, especially entrepreneurs of color, to have a space where they can come together. I was talking about a little bit earlier about why it's important for entrepreneurs to network with each other, because sometimes the solutions are right here in this room. Sometimes the next contract is with your business partner or a potential business partner. So I want to thank you for doing this and creating this space. So my name is Gregg Bishop. As you heard, I'm the Commissioner for the Department of Small Business Services, otherwise known as SBS. We're not Select Bus Service or anything like that. I have nothing to do with the MTA, but I have a lot to do with helping entrepreneurs in New York City. The job is a very difficult job. As you can imagine, we're a city of 8.5 million people. We have over 230,000 small businesses. But over 40% of those small businesses are actually owned and operated by a foreign-born New Yorker. So immigrants are actually powering New York City's economy. Small businesses account for 3.9 million employees. So we know that we need, as an agency, to support our small businesses. So when I got the invitation, and I think it was Jamila that was at our procurement fair, and said, hey, I sent you an invitation, I didn't hear from you. And I said, okay, I'll be here. One of the things we try to do is make sure we connect to different communities to let people know what we are doing and what we have to offer. So for all the entrepreneurs in this room, the message is simple. The City of New York is here to help you realize your dream. It may not seem that way, especially when the fire department comes in to inspect your business, or the buildings department, or any of the other regulatory agency. But I always remind people that we are a complex city. So all these other agencies have to do their jobs, and it is our job at SBS to make sure that you understand how to be compliant. We offer 9 set of services through our NYC Business Solution Centers. And one of the things, well, there's a number of things that I hear from entrepreneurs. Obviously, access to capital is a big challenge for small business owners. We do offer financial help. They are not grants. The biggest request I get is, do we have grants? We had one program in the fall where we were testing interventions on how to help long-standing businesses, because we know there are businesses in the community, communities are changing, and we want to make sure those businesses remain in the community. So we were able to get grants of up to $90,000 to about 40 businesses that we're testing right now. If those interventions are successful, then we have a case in terms of how to get more funding to actually run some of these programs. So capital, what we do is we help connect you to a lender. Sometimes it's a traditional bank, sometimes it's a non-traditional bank, and you may not be used to these terms. But what I always tell people is let us help you. So don't worry about any of your past performance in credit, et cetera, et cetera. If you have a need, just come to us and we could possibly help you. We have programs for women entrepreneurs, capital program for women entrepreneurs, where we can actually get you a loan of up to $10,000 at a 0% interest rate. So, you know, it actually, we have so many different lenders that focus on so many different types of borrowers that we should be able to help you. And if not, then we will connect you to another agency that's going to be able to help you repair your credit. The other issue that we hear from small business owners is just not knowing either the structure of my business or I'm about to open up a business and I'm about to sign a lease, etc. We have, and I know there's an attorney in the room, I don't know if he left yet, but we do offer free legal services, much to the chagrin of the attorneys that want to charge small businesses, but we try to make sure that we make things easier for you to operate in New York City. So we have free legal services, not only to help you understand your business structure or help review contracts, but if you're about to sign a lease, and this is the most important thing I have to tell anyone that's about to open up a storefront, is your protection is in your lease. If you do not have a lease, there's not much I can do to help you going down the line. And you need a lease in terms of understanding what your expenses will be to make sure you stabilize that so you understand how to actually do your cash flow projections. So we actually provide you an attorney to negotiate your lease for you so you can actually have a good chance of getting a fair lease. So this is a new service that we're offering. We have a number of other free services, but one of the other things I wanted to just mention is our Minority and Women-Owned Business Enterprise Program. Now, everyone in this room, you might be in business for a year, you might be in business for 2 years, you might be in business for 6 months. One of the things you have to make a decision in terms of how to actually grow your business, right? So there's things, and there's education offerings that we have that talks about how to come up with a growth strategy for your business, how to make sure that you come up with an e-commerce strategy for your business, how to use technology, etc. But one of the path to actually growing your business is through government contracting. Now, you have to be careful in terms of when you actually start to contract or think about contracting to government. But if you're at that point where you're ready, New York City, we spend anywhere between $12 and $15 billion a year to run the city. We buy everything from hidden cameras to even German Shepherds to tables to paper to everything that you could possibly think of, we buy. And we want to make sure that we create an opportunity for small businesses to actually get a percentage of that purchasing power. So we offer a number of courses in terms of how to sell to government, what that means for your business, and then once you get certified as a minority and women-owned business, because we are the agency that do the certification, we then help you with your business development strategy in terms of which agencies you should connect with to actually, basically sell your services. So we've been very successful. The mayor set a goal of 30%. We are now, this year, we were looking in the last quarter, we're about 24%. So that's 24% of the total purchasing power of the city. So we are doing a lot to increase opportunities for our small businesses. Even if you're in photography, you're in catering, you're providing a good or service, there's always an opportunity with the city of New York. It is, I have a lot of respect for everyone here who has gone through this route in terms of starting a business. I wouldn't be here. My grandmother was an entrepreneur, and she sold vegetables in the marketplace. I'm from Grenada, and without there you go. No, it's me too. So that's the important part too. And because she was an entrepreneur, she created an opportunity for my mom to come to this country. So we know that because you are starting a business, you're not only starting a business to change your life, but you're starting a business to change a generation. So anything that we can do as a city, we are there to help you. We do offer other services at the department. We do all our workforce programs, so we help people find jobs. We train people for the jobs of tomorrow. But tonight I just wanted to focus on the services we offer for small businesses. I know we have a panel coming up, but if anyone has any questions in terms of anything that I talked about, I know there's a lot, and I could probably spend the entire night just going down all the different services that we offer. But if you have questions, I can take some now, or if you're looking to connect, you can either call 311. I always say that because it's the easiest thing that people remember, and you'll get connected to one of our centers. You can go online at nyc.gov/SBS for small business services, or if you are actually want to dive deep into all the business services all the agencies provide, you can go to nyc.gov/business and then get a listing of, for example, if you're thinking about opening a business, there's a wizard where you just click all the things you want in your business, and it'll spit out all the different permits and regs that you have to be aware of, and then we will help you actually navigate that process. Or if you want to connect to our legal services, all that is available online. And you can also, I will give my information to Rant and Rave, and I'm sure you have a mailing list. You can also get my contact information if you want to connect with me. So with that, I'm opening it up to one or two questions that anyone may have. Anything? Yes.
So a lot of what you talk about I feel like there's a focus on traditional brick and mortar businesses, right? But as young people, you think of Rant and Rave, it's a more digital platform.
Yep.
And there's not a lot of conversations about how do we scale and grow services, because it's really a service, or it's an intangible service. So what kind of services do you have for people in our generation who are doing things very digital?
Correct. So we do have services. A lot of it is on the education side for what I would call new media businesses. So, for example, one of the things we have modules on e-commerce strategies for online businesses. We have modules on search engine optimization strategies. We've actually moved a lot of our workshops that used to be required for you to be in person online. So you register, and then you can go through different modules at the comfort of your home, because we do recognize technology is changing and disrupting businesses. Retail is struggling, and retail is struggling because of technology. So it's now what's happening is that if you're in retail, I would advise people, the first thing you should do is not actually open up a storefront, but figure out your online platform strategy. And then what happens now is that people are now moving to an experience. So if you're actually opening up a storefront, it's more about the experience, and then people buy online. So we are adapting some of our courses, but whether you're a brick and mortar or your online, capital is capital. So we will then connect you. So that doesn't change. Our legal services doesn't change, but yes, you're right. The delivery and the content of our education will change to adjust to brick and mortar and online businesses. Any other questions? So, was there a question?
No.
So one of the things I know, so I'm just going to address the monkey in the room in terms of what I have seen. Rents are rising in New York City. And for brick and mortar businesses, and especially if you are living in neighborhoods where you have long-standing businesses, one of the challenges that we are seeing is that some of our stable businesses that have been in the neighborhood for decades are closing. We are working on the peripheral. There's a couple legislation that's been introduced to figure out how we can address that. Some of it is related to Albany because, as you probably heard recently, there was rent regulations for for residents. There isn't any type of commercial rent control. There is a debate on whether or not we need commercial rent control. But while we are waiting for our elected officials to figure this out, all these services that I talked about are on the peripheral to make sure that if you have a strong lease, we can help you. On the back end, if you have a landlord that's harassing you, we have legal services to deal with. But we want to make sure that we provide you all the tools that's necessary to be successful. But one of the things that I'm just encouraging everyone here, you are collective, and our elected officials need to hear from you in terms of how either proposed legislation or current legislation is affecting you as a small business owner. If they don't hear from you, they assume that you're doing fine. So it's so important for you to be active politically. And when I say active politically, know who your local council member is. Talk to your local council member. Support your local council member. Know who your elected state assembly person and senator, who they are. Because there are certain laws in Albany that governs New York City, and there's a lot of power in local politics. Sometimes we get distracted about the federal level in terms of what's happening in Washington, but the real power is actually in your local council seat. And just to give you an example, in the 45th district where Jamani just vacated, there was probably about maybe 80,000 people that was eligible to vote. Only 8,000 voted. So literally the few are empowering individuals to make decisions for everyone. So that's why it's important to be engaged in your local races, because it's so important, because they are making laws that will impact you as a business owner, whether it's tax laws, property tax laws, or worker laws. All those things impact you as a small business owner. So it's so important for you to be and to advocate on behalf of you and other business owners. So thank you very much for being here. This is a start, and looking forward to hearing from everyone in this room, and continue the fight, and all success to the entrepreneurs in the room. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Isn't it awesome to see one of our own doing it for real? We appreciate you. We really do.
I feel so short.
So we have Jolene and Deidre Clark. Should I do Clark? She Clark. They own Jolie Studio, event space, and services, right? I saw that the other day. Okay, we have Mr. Terry Hines, Barbadian-American attorney, who is very committed to investing in businesses in Brooklyn, and also Sterling Realty Group as well. So he owns his own law firm, his own realty company, and we have, should I use your government, or should I just call you Trax? Because you DJ Trax. We're gonna use the government? We're gonna call you Trax? All right, we're gonna call him Trax for now. Owner of Brooklyn Prime, Palooza Kitchen, and Brooklyn Space. See, I had to make sure I got multi-business owner. So we want to make sure that we do the right thing and welcome them. Yes. Taking time out of their businesses to come and speak to you and share some information. So we're gonna be off stage and let them just kind of shine for this.
How did you get started in your business? I mean, simple. This is just level 1 question. How did you guys get started in business? We got 2 mics, grab one.
Chivalry. Chivalry. Hi guys. Hello.
Hello?
There we go.
Hi everyone. Alright, so how did we get started with Jolie Studio? Okay, so Jolie Studio was pretty much a natural transition because our parents had an event space growing up, but it was on a much smaller scale. So for meetings and smaller family events. So we pretty much grew up partying, around a lot of parties, around cleaning up after parties, around managing inebriated people after parties. So it's pretty much in our family. So it was pretty much in our family growing up. So when we had the opportunity to open up a venue, we figured we'd just take it to another level.
She had the same experience.
I wouldn't say I got lucky, but when I started, I was the one who wanted to go into law. And one day, when I was in high school, actually, one of my cousins told me that there was an attorney who was looking for someone who was collecting petitions for an elected official. So I went with him to meet with the gentleman. I told him about my future ambitions, and also told him that after the campaign was over, that I wanted to intern for them for free. I ended up staying there through high school, One of the gentlemen we worked with was our Senator John Sampson. He got elected, and I tried to use my relationships with them and to get into law school. So from there, it just kept on being one of those things where the goal was always to not only become an attorney, but to start my own law firm. And in just everything I was doing was always researching what it would take, or speaking to the other attorneys, or just paying attention to what it would take to start your own small business. I think my first year I had saved $30,000 when I was working with the law firm. I think I lost all 30 within the first 6 months of actually starting my own firm. I remember asking my mother for money, and it was like the worst feeling in the world. When she gave it to me, I always promised myself I would never have to ask her for it again. I mean, I was using it for a good purpose, but it was almost like a feeling of, man, this is a lot harder than what I thought it was going to be. And from there, I remember just saying I'm going to do whatever it took to make sure that I would be at least able to sustain the business that I had. And so far, I mean, that was 15 years ago, so it's been going well so far.
Great job.
How you doing, guys? My given name is everybody laughs because nobody knows my name. I'm known as On Track. I've been DJing in the New York City community for many years. I want to say about 20, maybe even more. How I got started into business, basically, I knew I couldn't be a DJ for life. I went to school for physical therapy at Florida State, came home, and I didn't want to do physical therapy. I was interning at a company called Plus One Fitness at One World Financial Center, and they came 9/11. I didn't want to be in Manhattan, take the train anymore. I said, you know what? I'm going to take my music to a different level. I took all the money I had, invested into equipment. If you know anything about DJing, Kevin Crown is around here somewhere. I invested in a lot of dub plates, which are special when you get an artist to sing for you, and I took it from there. I created my own lane. When everybody was in the club, I was in the basement. When everybody was in the dance hall, I was doing my own little basement parties, small venues, and building my clientele. So basically, I've been running my own business for a long time. The way I treated my music as a DJ, to me, it was a business. My motto was, music is my business, and business is good. So I used to do a lot of college tours, and basically, the relationship that I built with a lot of people in this room is why I went into business. It's service. And I used to tell people back in the days, I was never the best DJ, I was never the best promoter, but I had the best relationship with people. So I just took that into business, and I opened a restaurant 3 years ago, I opened a second one a year later, and as of last year I opened a bar and grill, and I also have an event space now.
That's what you call a West Indian.
That's exactly right.
Wow.
But, so just to follow up with that, obviously that takes a lot of sacrifice, that takes a lot of time away from family. What advice would you have for someone who wants to get started, like having to deal with all of that sacrifice, and tell them how much it's worth it?
Well, my life, I'm gonna write a book soon. I've been through a lot over the years, obviously. Far from perfect. One thing that I learned the hard way was balance. Initially with the music, I was so focused on music that I neglected my ex-wife and my son. I was one of the best dads ever, anybody will tell you that. But when it's time for vacation, I can't go, you guys go. They went on vacation 3-4 times a year, and I stayed here because I can't miss this party, I gotta make this money. My focus was money, 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 money. Then years later, after I lost that home and everything, I realized, like, wait, money is not everything. You know, so I needed balance. And anybody that knows me here knows now I'm engaged. I just had my baby shower for my second child this past weekend. So, balance.
Yeah.
I've learned that, and to me, that's the key. So, Again, anybody who knows me, I vacation a lot. 3 years ago, basically, I decided 2017 was the year for me to sacrifice. No vacation, nothing. I asked my fiance to quit her job to help me manage the businesses. We struggled, but we've made it. And now everything is fine, and we're about to have a second child next month. So the key is balance. That's it.
I guess the key is balance, but it's also finding they say a good wife or a good mate. I was fortunate enough to find my wife while we were studying for the bar. And throughout the time that we were dating, I always let her know of my future ambitions. Someone else, she's an attorney as well, so she understood the hours. But my parents were both teachers. They were always in the home. My father would work 2 jobs, but if there was parent-teachers night, he was taking the night off to make it to those meetings. And I think I internalized that. So no matter what I was doing, I always made time for my kids. I always make time for my kids. The vacation part, I do understand. You take a week off, and that's not only a week of business you've lost, it's almost a month of business you've lost, because those contacts go elsewhere. So I was doing the same thing. You take a vacation, and you realize they're taking vacations without you, and you're missing events in life that you'll never get back. So from this year on, I've been going. For the last 3 or 4 years, I've been going, and it's something you can't miss. So as he said, it's balance, but just finding somebody that's going to support you and your dream as hard as you have that dream as well.
Yes, you guys have a leg up on her. So for us as sisters in business, we're always in each other's business. There's no fine. She's always in my business. There's literally no fine lines, right? We go pretty deep. You know what I mean? Sometimes it gets a little shaky. And sometimes there are times that she has to bring me back, and she's like, listen, I'd rather sacrifice this whole business than our relationship, right? Because I get really, business. But I mean, I couldn't even ask for a better support system. I think really part of the success of Jolie Studio has been having my sister as my partner, my friends, my family, my boyfriend, my kids, just being very present. To Antrax's point, when we first started, it was go, 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 autopilot. And the kids were pretty much taking a back seat and just, oh, let me guess, you have another showing. Oh, let me guess, you have another tour. Oh, let me guess. So some advice that we had gotten from another business owner is to keep them as involved as possible. So if you've ever come to our studio during a showing or a tour, literally in that 10 minutes, my mom would walk by with laundry, my kids would come in with homework, my sister's daughter would walk in, but it's a family business and they get it. And so the goal is just to keep everyone as present as possible. I would say our relationship is kind of like, think Braxton Family Values, think the Caribbean version, think Tony and Tamar. My sister.
Wait, who's the Tamar?
Definitely my sister. I'm always like, please, if you go out, please don't Instagram that. Please don't do this, D. But she's about her business. And definitely, I'm operations and she's marketing, so we pretty much balance each other.
So location. We always hear is an important thing. How did you guys pick your locations for your business? That's really for
because we're definitely talking about Brooklyn-based businesses, so we want to do.
We didn't have to pick it. We were born and raised in our location. Literally, my parents moved over there when I was 2, and I'm 34. Yeah, so 32 years. We've lived over there. It was just by luck. Our dad has always told us the one thing about was, don't be scared of the neighborhood you were raised in. Those are the most people that kind of support you in every business and everything that you do. You don't get to know your neighbors, so we were really, really lucky at the time, because when we started Jolie Studio, Nordstrom was like, it was like Fifth Avenue. Like everybody was trying to get on Nostrand, and we kind of felt like, do we want to stay in the Caribbean area? With event spaces, we kind of want to go far so people have access to certain things. And it was just one advice this guy told us was just like, you guys have access to everything, by the train, by the bus, there's cabs, there's everything. People could walk to Flatbush and come back. So we were just very blessed to be able to stay where we were kind of raised, and we get away with a lot more stuff.
And just relationships with the community, just definitely growing up. Our father is on the Merchants Association. We have relationships with the council people, and they pretty much knew us. We went to school in our neighborhood, so as the community changed and as new businesses started coming in, we were able to support new businesses, and they, it reciprocated as well. So we stayed. The value of real estate, definitely.
Pretty much the same thing. I grew up in East Flatbush, so I went to PS 244, Tilden High School, My 11 Junior High School. My father was actually the principal over at My 11. So when I got married, my wife was from Connecticut, I was from Brooklyn, and I told her, I was like, I really can't leave Brooklyn. This is my heart. This is where my business is. This is where my experience is. So we ended up actually purchasing a property a block away from Brooklyn Prime. So we're on Troy Avenue now. And again, it's like they said, you create those relationships. One of my clients owned property about 2 blocks away, and that's where my law office is. So literally, my family, my business, my friends, everything is within a very close radius.
Oh, so we're neighbors. My switch lawyers. Location is key. I try to get their space before they got it. Pop said, I can't. They're gonna do the same thing you wanna do. I'm like, oh, come on, Pops. True story. But the first location of the restaurant was on Tilden and Nostrand. I've closed it down last year in March. The owner was selling the building. So unfortunately, I had to let it go. Then I opened a second location on Nostrand Avenue between Hawthorne and Winthrop. As of March, I've closed my doors to the public because now I concentrate on catering. I cater to about 150 minimum per day elderly daycare centers participants. So I have various contracts dealing with that. So with balance, and the new baby coming, it only makes sense. Less hours. We're only cooking from 7 to 11, from 11 to 12:30, delivering the food to the different facilities, and then come back and clean up. And 1 o'clock, the day is done. So, and honestly, I was not. And honestly, I was not seeing 150 people through the door on a daily basis. She coming once a day, once a week. Once a day, every day, but that's not enough, and so I just had to play smart. Brooklyn Prime is my baby. I managed it 4 years ago with someone else, and they screwed up the deal, and we had to walk away. And funny enough, I proposed to my fiance there 3 years ago on her birthday. And after the deal went sour, I told her I want this place. The location, parking, to me was perfect. And then a year later, the owner of the building called me and said, hey, listen, I know you guys were doing a good job when you were helping these guys out. The place is available. If you meet the criteria, the place is yours. I said, oh, what? I went there, met him, produced everything that he needed. We got it, and we went through the process. So that's how Brooklyn Prime came about. So it's meant to be. That's the way I say it. So location is definitely key. Sometimes you don't have a choice as to where you go. You just find something that's available and you make it happen. But with that, I definitely knew that was for me. So.
No problem. People can hear me.
No problem.
This just sounds so distinctly West Indian. This is such a Caribbean mentality of like, we're going to make it work. They want the mic
back, yeah.
Come closer to me. So this seems just very, distinctly Caribbean, distinctly West Indian to make sure that it's going to happen regardless. And so I wanted to ask you guys, because of course our panel is full of people who were raised by Caribbean parents, and I want to know how that affects your business. Oh dear. How that affects how you approach business, how you do business, and of course I'm seeing that it represents also in the community. So.
You can pass it to her. Yeah, because well, for us, our parents are very, very, very involved. As much as we don't,
And that's because they are from where?
Guyana. So Guyanese parents don't let go at all. It don't matter what you do. No, it's a little different. Guyanese got it's a little different. They try to control you without really controlling you, but they're really mentally controlling you. For us, our parents, it was our dad. I mean, not only our mom, but our dad was always business oriented. He's like the man of every trade. He believed like if you don't want to go to college, you got to go to school for a trade, like automatically. So when we said we wanted to get into this, it was a no-fail option. Even if the booking, you feel like, I don't even want to book these people. He's just like, you can't fail. You can only, it's a lesson. So when we decided to really do this, and I wasn't working, I just had a baby at the time, so I didn't want to do anything. And my dad was like, it's a good opportunity for you to learn the other side of business, because I've only known marketing. So for us at Jolie, like when we try to make a decision, we go to our mom and our dad and kind of ask them, what do you think? Even though we walk out like, why didn't we even ask them? Now we got to do what they say. But they really push us and motivate us to like, we came here and we were successful. So there's no reason why you can't become successful. And they give you the story of living in Vanderveer and then buying a house, and you now feel like, well, going to private school wasn't so bad. So we kind of pushed ourselves, and me and my sister are like,
My sister and I.
she does that all. That's why I don't speak. And that's why I don't talk at my, like, she didn't go to school for grammar. I was a psychology major. You don't have to speak. But my sister and I, we're very competitive in some sense too, as well, when it comes to running a business. So whatever they taught us and, kind of kept us like, we got to do better. Can't fail. We always have to do better and learn. Our dad is big on education, so if it's like managing any of that, he's like, oh, I just Googled a project management. You're like, thanks, program. So he's very good at pushing us and just motivating us as a unit to move together.
Yeah, pretty much what she said. Growing up with West Indian parents while raising a business, they pretty much are super supportive in everything we do, and that's one thing that our family members, everyone admires about our family. And presentation is everything. So for West Indian people in general, so basically making sure that our clients have the best experience possible. While upstairs we have aunts ironing tablecloths. Everybody is involved behind the scenes because they just want to see us win, and they're not going to stop until they see us win. It's generational wealth and it's generational growth. So as long as they have our back, I can't see how we're going to fail at this.
I guess a quick story would be more to answer that question would be about my church home. So, West Indians usually have these small storefront homes where everybody from the church literally is from the family. So I went to law school, first day in law school, I went to school in Pennsylvania. So I was there's a class of about 305 black people in the class. And in the class, there are like family members, or students whose parents are already partners in firms, police officers who have a legal background, doctors who are now becoming attorneys. And I said to myself, and these people weren't smiling, they were there for business from day one. I said, I'm not gonna make it. So I called home and I said to my uncle, I said, listen, I told him the same thing. I said, these guys are serious. this is not what I'm, I wasn't ready for this. I don't think I'm gonna make it. And his response to me was, if we got you here, we expect you to finish the job. We didn't bring you there to fail. We don't expect you to fail. Don't come back if you don't succeed. Right? So I called my father, and God knows, right, that didn't work. Call my aunt. I'm calling everybody from the church, and you're getting the same story. There's an expectation for you to succeed. And if people believe in you that much, you have to believe in yourself just as hard. And that's one thing I find about the West Indian community. When they believe in their children, the first time my father said he was proud of me was when I graduated from law school. Because everything else was expected. You were supposed to do everything else. So I like that about West Indian children. I like about the West Indian family in general.
Can you repeat the question again? Because what's your aunt?
You were raised in the same household?
Same church too. I don't know. But I'm sorry. Repeat the question again.
How did your West Indian upbringing affect your approach to business?
Well, I'm from Panama, and I grew up watching my dad pretty much do the same thing that I'm doing. If you guys been to Circos del Ley, it's not Ringling Brothers. Ringling Brothers, when they go in the trapeze and the walk, they have a net. Circos del Ley, they don't have nets. That's how I grew up watching my dad. Just getting into businesses and doing things, and you have no choice but to make it. And with the name being On Track Disco, I came up with the slogan, stay on track. And every time I post something positive, or even if it's negative, is stay on track. I mean, no matter what happens in life, you gotta stay on track. You gotta keep going. You gotta keep pushing. You gotta be persistent. You gotta be tenacious. So I grew up seeing that with my dad, and I guess, instilled in me. So basically, that's what it is. When I started my first restaurant, I had $30,000 saved. I used every single dime, and I have to make it happen. Same thing when Brooklyn Prime came about. Again, it's an opportunity that I was looking forward to. At that time, I had about $100,000 saved. Asked my fiance to quit her job. So there was no money coming in on that side, and it's basically just us grinding to make things happen. So again, the West Indian mentality. When I went to college, I wasn't allowed to come home. And I was in Florida. I was like, Grandma, the campus is closed during Thanksgiving. I have to come home. Guess what? I ended up in Alabama, in Mobile, Alabama, in Dothan with roommates and teammates. Because you can't come home until you graduate. I'm like, okay. Wow. I would just come home during the summer. I wasn't allowed during the holidays, Grandma, because I grew up with my grandmother here. No, you're not flying here. I'm not paying for the bus. So I wasn't driving then, so guess what? I'm in Alabama with teammate or roommate. So, I think we need to be that way with our kids nowadays too. Kids nowadays are just very lackadaisical. And I think us as parents are lackadaisical sometimes because we grew up with the roughness. Oh, I'm not gonna be how my grandmother was or how my dad was, and so we're soft. Oh, everybody gets a trophy for soccer. No. I played competitive soccer in second place, you didn't get anything. So I think we need to instill that in our kids now, in this generation now. And I think that's where the sense of entitlement comes in. A lot of people are, entitled. So, I could go on and on, but that's my 2 cents in it.
Quick question on the West Indian side. Where does carnival play in business? Does anybody have time to go jump up in somebody's carnival? Are you spending money on costumes and bottles and what on the road? Oh, look, Tamar, have her hands up.
Tamar does. I do. I feel like, to On Track's point, I gotta go back. Unlike Jolene, when I wanted to come home, Jolene went to school in Albany, right? I went to school in Connecticut. She was 3 hours away. I was an hour. I could never come home. My father used to be like, Daddy, Mommy, can I go to Carnival? Miami in school. I'm like, Miami in school. And if I try to come home, My father be like, I'm gonna come visit you. I'm like, well, what happened to Jolene was in Trinidad, Jolene was in every carnival, and she was in Albany. So once I got older, I was like, oh, I need to travel like the rest of the world. And then I have such a beautiful sister that allows me to go to these carnivals because she knows deep down inside I work my butt off. Okay, I tell everybody, Jolene is the numbers and she's everything. I'm the physical. You'll see me on Nostrum lifting a table and a chair and she's like, I don't lift chairs, I don't lift tables. But we do it together. But at sometimes I'm like, I just want to go away. I only go away on a Friday and I come back on a Monday because carnival is only 3 days.
Now she's keeping them back.
And if I'm in Jamaica, I'll FaceTime her and I let her know that I'll be back. I got the next shift, right?
No one has as much paid vacation as Deidre, okay? She never misses the carnival, and then she tells these stories, and then, oh my God, I was in the airport, and someone came up and said, oh my God, I'm from Jolie's studio, oh my God. And she's just like everywhere, but I get it, right? Because this was my dream. It was, and I kind of pulled her into it, and because she's such a great sister, she's like, I guess it's our dream now, right? And so I let her enjoy her life. I let her live. I let her have the balance. And we pretty much, but yeah, carnival. I haven't been to a carnival in a minute, because I kind of, right.
You're living through there.
I'm living through, and everyone else on social media is living through that.
Yeah, I don't do carnival.
Well, I mean, as a DJ, it goes hand in hand. You know? A lot of times it's a paid vacation. Sometimes it's not, but you're still going. Like I said, 2017, we sacrificed a lot. So for the last 2 years, we have taken advantage of our hard work. Now that we're pregnant, funny enough, just yesterday, this past weekend was Heroes Weekend in Bermuda. We went last year. So, you get the notification on Facebook, like last year on this day. So she sent me a picture with the crying face, and I texted her back, you ruined everything. But it's just jokes, But yeah, carnival goes hand in hand with the music business. Last year I experienced Guyana for the first time. Yeah. My Guyanese friends, they know I like to crack jokes on the guys. It's nothing but jokes though. But it's nothing but jokes. And I went to Greece last year for a soca weekender. That was the first time I never heard of. Go on Instagram, soca weekender. This year they're doing I forget the island. It's off the coast of Africa. I forgot the name of the island. No, not one. It's another one. But anyway, soca weekender. No, I can't remember.
She said yes, it's Canary Islands.
Yeah, but anyway, what they do every year, they pick a different location, and they bring carnival to that. Last year was Greece, and it was beautiful. So, yeah, carnival. I love carnival.
It's a must.
Okay, so I will ask our last question, just to bring it back around real quick, and then open it up. So get your questions ready. But as you know, we are talking about just how business is changing in Brooklyn. And so just as a final thought from our panelists, why do you think it's so important that we maintain a Caribbean business presence in Brooklyn? It's Tony over here. So definitely on Nostrand Avenue, historically, where Jolie's studio is located, you think we are literally Allen's Bakery. And remember the Old Gloria's restaurant? We're across the street from the Old Gloria's and Allen's. So if you know that neighborhood, on a Saturday morning, there's jerk chicken, there's music, there's the smell of bread. And there are also new restaurants and cafes, Italian restaurants, and several cafes that are non-West Indian. But I will say Nostrand Avenue, from On Track Strip, coming all the way down, we are one of the last of all black owned. Literally Black Wall Street coming down, right? Even with the new cafes coming in, we're still very, very present in our community. And on a Saturday, regardless of whose Italian restaurant is around, they still bring out the speakers. They still play the music extremely loud, and our community still represents. So it's just really important to keep that historical, so that when you have tourism and people coming in to visit, they remember old school Brooklyn. They remember, they smell it, and they feel it, and the ambiance is still there. So I'm just glad that we were able to stay strong, in the community that is constantly changing. Our presence is felt on a Saturday morning.
See, my parents actually, for a while I was actually on Sterling between Bedford and Rogers, so right over there. But I think as if you grow up in the West Indian community, you realize how much we have invested in Brooklyn. This community, Brooklyn isn't Brooklyn without the investment that we've made. So just when I was talking about Sterling, about 5 years ago, Sterling was about 95% black. I manage a property for my parents now. That block is about maybe 15% black now, and the rent is outrageous. I mean, you have parties coming in paying a full year worth of rent in one payment. It's almost impossible for a homeowner to keep minorities within that community. And it's a shame, because when things were tough and when the crime was bad in that community, we the West Indians were the ones who were staying there, fighting for it, keeping those communities up, improving it. And now you look at it and they're being run off, they're being priced out. So the investment it's important, because it's who we are, it's what we have paid for, what we've bled for, and now you're watching it just slip away, and it's a shame.
I like this guy. Got a new lawyer. Well, for me, I think it's necessary that we keep going, because we do need more businesses. As Jolie mentioned on Nostrand Avenue, what's the young lady? She just opened the hair salon. Nikki. And we are growing, but at the same time, we are hurting a lot. Across the street from me, to a veggie shop open. They're doing pretty well. The gentleman across next to the vegetarian place, the juice waste, is a dry cleaner. Black owned. He's been there for years. I want to say maybe 30. And he used to be up on Sterling, left first at Nostrand. And business slowed down on that side, so closed that store. His family used to manage about 20 dry cleaners, black owned. And now they're down to 1. So that's to tell you what's going on in Brooklyn. And I could have easily went to Williamsburg and opened a nice sit-down restaurant with a bar, liquor license, and make my money, or go to any other neighborhood, Williamsburg and East Bushwick or West Bushwick, whatever you want to call it. But like, they're growing up on Nostrand and Hawthorne, Fenimore, Sterling. I grew up on President Street between Nostrand and Rogers. If you know anything about in the 80s, that was one of the most drug-slinging blocks ever. Every summer there's a helicopter on Rogers and one on Nostrand. And I grew up in that environment, but I didn't grow up in it. You know, I used to play baseball and basketball and soccer. I was into sports. And one thing that one lady that grew me, rest in peace, Miss Shirley Mollison, used to own a laundromat on Rogers Avenue between Carroll and Montgomery. And this lady basically babysat the whole 12-block radius. Because if you worked till 5 o'clock, but you got out of school at 3, guess what? Your mom tell you, go by Miss Shirley laundromat and just sit there. She'll make sure you do your homework. We don't have that anymore. You know, you got to give them Wi-Fi, and we need to support each other more. We need, in our community, we need more black-owned businesses, and we need the support from you guys. Quick story, when I was opening Brooklyn Prime, within 2 days when I signed the lease, they already reported me to the authorities, the Black Association. Oh, he's working without a permit. I have to clean up. I got to take the stuff out. What are you talking about? Inspectors came, and it's your own people. You know, they just don't want that on the block. Why not? You don't know what I'm bringing to the table. Then we went to the community board. They're fighting me down. I went to the community board. I didn't speak. I had my lawyer with me. He spoke. They listened. 6'4" Jewish guy. They listened to him, but when I'm trying to talk, nothing. You know, and we need to be more open-minded with each other when it comes to what we are bringing to the table, the services that we are providing. Again, like the gentleman mentioned, we can listen. I'm going to have a conversation with this gentleman right here after we leave here, after we're done here, because I like what he has to say. He's next to me. Why not give him business? You know, I have other things that I'm working on, so I might need some advice and counsel. But we need to be open-minded and welcome each other's, you know, ideas and beliefs, because, like you say, carnival is not for him. Okay, we got to respect that. He's a church-going gentleman. We got to respect that. We love carnival. He has to respect that, and we can live along amongst each other with respect. We don't have to like each other's views, but we have to respect each other. You know, so. All right, that's enough.
Thank you. I want to open it up to questions. Anybody have questions?
Come
in the back.
Come out of the
front.
Good afternoon. My name is Shalene, and I represent Team Soca. You know DJ Spice. We are an online business. He also has a online radio station, 24/7 Soca. What have you guys done, especially as females? Because I just got into it with him. What did you do, or what type of investments did you guys venture out for in terms of the small business, like like Gregg was talking about, to grow your business per se? Was it family investment? Was it just you guys just hustling all the time?
I would definitely say all of the above. I still work full time, and she works full time, so it can take a toll, right? Definitely. But we pretty much look at our full-time jobs as our investors right now back into the business. That's one thing. Family support. You know, we did have to look for capital as well. It's not easy, but having a plan, strategic plan rather, in council was helpful. But then again, this is my second business, and in my first business that I used to own a cupcake store, and one thing that we did step out of the box and do was crowdfunding, and we did Kickstarter. And, you know, most people who do Kickstarter, they pretty much think of it as like techies and, you know, those that you have to pretty much start a project and convince people that you can bring it to fruition. And so we did a Kickstarter to gain money for the business. In 33 days, we raised $35,000 online, right? But that's boots on the ground. That's really pretty much convincing people that, you know, this is something that will be worth, you know, the finalization. So pretty much going into sitting in on podcasts, thinking outside of the box, not just like, hey, I'm starting this business, you willing to donate $5? But like going to podcasts, going to events like this, networking and socializing. So just thinking of other ways outside of the normal ways to raise money, and family investments. Thank you. Right?
I'm glad you mentioned Kickstarter, because Caribbean people sometimes look at Kickstarter and Indiegogo as a big money, and it don't look too kosher. So, but it's, the other folks use it successfully. And, you know, it's not for lack of not wanting to try it, but we know our people suspect everything, the spirit not take it. So, what kind of strategies did you use for your Kickstarter campaign, and how did you think out the box to be able to raise the money? Because, boy, them not support the thing at all.
So, you know, the main thing with Kickstarter is that you have to create this video, right, to tell your story. And, you know, what I definitely suggest, you don't get your little video camera out and try to do it on your own. If you had to allocate any funds, allocate it in a really good videographer, a cinematographer to create this storyline for you.
Like Cordell Burman.
Right. So we hired a really amazing videographer to capture the story. Then we had to capture the essence of Brooklyn, right? And then, for example, we used some background sampling music for Jay-Z, but we had to sample that for Kickstarter. You can't, for copywriting purposes, you just can't throw Jay-Z on the track. But fortunately enough, my cousin here kind of like did a sample for Jay-Z, so we kind of like hit his lawyer up a little bit for that. But outside of that, you have to literally, we had a party like this where we invited family and friends to teach them about crowdfunding. Because you got to teach them first. And we pretty much made them ambassadors. Like, okay, we're about to do this thing. Let us teach you creating an infographic to create, this is how we get to our end goal. And this is how we will need your support to get there, right? And then, so that's one thing. Teaching your community about crowdfunding so that they can go out like, my sister's doing a little thing, don't worry, it's safe, your money is safe, don't worry, right? Right?
We had a lot of buttons.
And last but not least, for example, it was a cake store. Right? And so we reached out to different people who were tech guys who were doing, because they pretty much are a huge part of the crowdfunding community. But that doesn't mean tech people don't like cake, right? And we did like a Walking Dead cake, and we came on and we did like Star Trek stuff. And we talked a little bit about how our cake design was implemented with, Star Trek or whatever it was they were talking about. And these white boys were like, what? Next thing, by the time we left and walked to the train station, we had like $7,000. You know what I mean? Remember, so Kickstarter crowdfunding is international. It's not just within the community. So it's basically just not being inclusive, just remembering that there are a lot of people, there are other tribes that support what you do internationally, and they were Toronto, Germany, Australia, people donated. So just step outside of the box, step on the other side of fear. There are people out there that support you. They just gotta know you're here, right?
Hi there. So, sorry, blocking everyone. So I heard you guys say you basically used your own money to start your businesses, right? How did you, having to deplete that, basically, did you guys ever deal with setbacks? And how did you bounce back? Because sometimes it's like scary to start all over again, to do it again, So how'd you guys deal with that?
Did you not hear the part about I don't have a safety net? There will be setbacks. No matter what, there will be setbacks. One of the questions that I don't know if you're going to ask those questions later. No, so basically, one thing that I would tell anyone going into business for themselves is make sure that you have capital. I'm smart, but not as bright as these two young ladies to use crowdfunding. I just believe that if I use my own money, I have no choice but to make it. And that's just the way I've been doing things for the last 4 or 5 years. Well, even with DJing, I would take $1,000 and I'm throwing a party instead of paying rent. Because I know the party's gonna make me more money. I could pay rent, gas, light, and then I got more money. And that's just how I operate. I mean, I can no longer operate in that, in that way. But setbacks, when I was opening Brooklyn Prime, I'm ready to open March 10, 2018. I've been working since July 1st of 2017. Spend all my money. I'm ready to open. Hey, gas company, you're the last one online. Come turn on my gas. Oh, you got a 3/4 inch pipe? You need 1.5 inches. What? Oh yeah, we gotta dig the street. We gotta do this. We gotta give you this type of meter. Da, 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 da. What? Depleted all my funds by then. I'm ready to open. Luckily, I have my liquor license since January. So I just went and bought some electric stuff. I opened. We were just doing fries and wings and shrimp and nugget and pasta. Because at the end of the day, you got to pay rent, light, gas, everything. And So it took me 9 months from the time I got the permit from the Department of Building, got the work done, gotta get inspected from the fire department, buildings department, every other department. So it took me 9 months of 2018 struggling. So yeah, there will be setbacks. So make sure you have some crowdfunding available.
Oh my goodness, this is amazing.
This
guys.
was
Thank
great.
you so much.
Thank you so much.
I just wanted to make a little note. A lot of times West Indians feel like you have to hold on to the information. You know, if I tell that one, you just gotta run and do it. You know, take my idea and go with it. But we need to support each other. You know, we have to help each other out. We have to tell our concerns. We have to give support. You can't just complain all the time. You also have to support the thing. These people are working hard. You're working hard, they're working hard as well. And if they can do it with all of this hard work, we can support them. Absolutely. You know, a lot of people coming into the community and taking and not giving back. You know, these people are coming into the community, they're giving back.
They are. They
are the community.
Grew up in the
they're the
community.
history of the community.
Yes.
And in order for us to keep going, we have to support each other for sure. So there's still time to network. I mean, Kevin Crown is in the building. We started so late that he only has a very short time to play. But Kevin, come and set up because
yes.
Are you ready to rave?
Yes. Please stick around.
Kevin
You
would
will
like
be
to
able
say
to
something,
network
apparently.
with people. Yeah, sure. Excuse me. Don't think I remember.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Do not forget the pop-up shop. They are still open for business. There are flag printed BBNYC shirts in the back, and if you watch Toon Tuesday, then you know I rock my BBNYC every week. There's Team Soca, and we should all be listening to Team Soca 24/7. But the gear is fly, so make sure you get there. Carnivalista, listen.
We gotta get our
Listen, if you're going to Carnival, or if you're just going to a fete, make sure you have your Carnivalista gear. They have everything to make you look fly for all of that. Kevin Crown, go ahead.
So I was booked to play some music for you guys, but like she said, time is short, but I think this is way more important, and I just want to thank you guys for actually putting this on, encourage you guys to keep doing it. And I want to say something to you guys, especially On Track, because I grew up to partying with On Track, playing alongside On Track, and he's now like a role model for what do I do when my time is done as a DJ. So I just want to ask you a question. How do you feel in this social media age as being like one of the first role models? There's you, there's Steely Bashman that's actually shown DJs like myself, well, Kevin, you know, you're not going to be able to tour forever. You're not going to be hot forever. It's just a progression of life. You're on top now. And I look to you guys as, you know, when I'm done, you know, maybe I can open a gym or maybe a restaurant, a health food store, a juice stand, something. Do you feel a certain pressure that, you know, I just don't got to make it for my family. I got to make it for all these guys that are looking up to me. How do you feel about that?
Put me under pressure. Well, you already know me.
Yes.
And it's not about me. And I tell people that my phone rings every day. Sometimes when I'm home, my fiance is like, take it off. Because at times, from time to time, Kevin will call me, yo, da-da-da. And people call me for advice all the time. And if you follow me on social media, you know, I start early with, you know, motivational stuff. You know, then later on it gets a little jokey and a couple of Guyanese jokes. Yeah. But it's just entertainment. But at the end of the day, from where I came from to where I am now and where I'm trying to be in the future, it's just for guys like you or anybody else like, well, if he can do it, I can do it. So it's not necessarily about me. And I mean, I'm trying to create something for my family, yes. But at the same time, I do want to be a role model where if he can make it. Because a lot of people, when I was playing music, and I come, hey, how you doing, sweetie? You look good. I'll talk to him. He's just a DJ. College educated from Florida State. And they just didn't know that part of me. You know, so I'm just a DJ. Don't worry about it. I know what I'm doing. And then now that people are seeing what I've been doing, there's other things that I'm doing that no one is privy to, and other things that I'm getting into, but it will come to the light, sooner or later. But it's just that. It's just for people to say, if he can do it, I can do it. Oh, that was just a DJ. Now look at it.
Thank you very much. Like you said, a lot of people look at me as just a DJ. I'm actually a local 3 electrician by trade. I went to school for 6 years. I left that job when my second daughter was 1 month old. I left the benefits alone. I left the 6-figure salary alone, and I put it all on the line to be a DJ, and I'm very successful at it right now. And I look to people like On Track and yourselves, and I do have a plan. I'm also a 4th degree black belt in Taekwondo, and I plan on opening my school, but it's not gonna be just a martial arts school just to take your money. I plan on opening up a wellness center where we have nutritionists. Some black people do not know where to go to find a nutritionist. Some people don't know how to work out. I plan on putting Pilates, yoga, juicing all in one center in Brooklyn, not Williamsburg, not right here, no disrespect to right here, but somewhere in Canarsie, East New York, where we really need it. So that's my long-term goal. That's my long-term goal after. So I'm gonna be calling everybody here to figure out how you guys did it.
You probably don't remember. Y'all want to say congratulations. You probably don't remember. When I went to SUNY Albany,
I was right there.
We hired you.
Thank you.
Right.
I've been doing this a very long time.
Right. So I just want to say I'm proud of you from Monroe to coming to Ayana.
I'm proud of you guys. I'm proud of you guys. I'm proud of you guys.
Right.
I'm happy we're still here and we're still building. Definitely.
Just to piggyback on what you said with your second daughter being born. When my first son was born 18 years ago, basically, it gave me the freedom to wake up in the morning, make breakfast, drive him to school, pick him up, go home, do homework. Like, that's something that you cannot take away. And now, my fiance, when I asked her to leave her job, she hasn't gone back yet. Now it's 2.5 years later. Well, actually 3, because we have a 3-year-old daughter and my son is about to be born next month. And I want her to be able to have that freedom as well, to nurture and culture our kids. So you can't take away the freedom of having the time to family, which goes back to the whole balance thing.
So we're here in the room, but we're also recording. And I want to make sure everybody knows how to reach you.
Yes.
So give us your social media handle, or give us the way to contact you. Period. Your email address, phone number, whatever it is easy.
Well, personal is On Track Disco. ONTRACK Disco. On Track Disco.
I guess the easiest way would be by phone, which would be 718-473-9767. Or our email address, which is law@lawhines.com.
Email is very good for us, very, very good, because we have an amazing events manager who answers back very promptly, but it's info@joliestudio.nyc, and then you can call us or text, please text, 929-240-4450. But there's always someone there to answer either way.
And if you mention this event, we might have a little discount for you. Right? On Track City.
Yes. 10% off.
You get 10% when you book Kevin Crown.
Thank you, guys. Thank you all for coming out. Listen, I had a moment earlier because I was upset that this room wasn't jammed with human beings. But I'm glad you guys came out. I'm glad you're getting the information. I knew it was going to be full of resources. If you didn't see, we did a live the other night, and if you didn't see it, we opened the curtains and let you see our real selves. And in my real life, in our real thing, I'm an attorney. I focused right now on compliance. I focus on minority-owned businesses and women-owned businesses. So that's my day job. Like, I work to get companies on projects. I work to make sure that everybody's complying with the law. So if you have questions about minority, becoming an MBE, a WBE, how to navigate that, please contact me. DM me is fine, so can say so. And then let's talk about your real self.
So in a real life, so I do marketing in real life, and I actually focus on customer retention business. So it's really about figuring out, online, I'm watching you all. So I figure out your user behavior so that I can bring that back to businesses so that they can say what you're likely to buy, what time you're likely to buy it. I study how to retain business. So this for me I took so much away from this because sooner or later, probably in about a year or two, I'm putting it out to the universe. I'm gonna have my own marketing consultancy. So this was very helpful. I appreciate it. That's me in a real life, but online I'm dyschick, dyschick.
All right. Let me rave.
Introduce the rave.
Let me rave. All right, listen. I'm gonna have to do a little Superman spin and come back out with my rave outfit because I am so ready. Free up yourselves. Take a drink, get some extra water, whatever you need to do to get ready for this bashment that's about to start right now. Kevin, anytime you're ready, we're ready for you. Thank you guys so much.
Stay in network.
Oh, sorry. We're forgetting ourselves. This is Rant and Rave.
Right.
This is the second Rant and Rave.
Right.
We are going to have the third one on July 24th. And the third one is going to be about arts. Arts and Caribbean culture. Caribbean arts. From film to fashion, we hit in everything.
Yes. We have some surprises. We have a couple of surprises, so make sure you get your early bird tickets. The save the dates are on the table. bkrantandrave.eventbrite.com. You can get all of your tickets there. Trust me, you want to get the early bird tickets because, I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I feel like we got a lot coming and we are very excited. And so I'm gonna let them rave, man.
It's all, wait. We got a fourth one. We might as well. We have them in a room. We might as well tell them about the fourth one. The fourth and final. Listen, tell your friends. A lot of people keep saying, I'll see you next week, Wednesday. No, you will not see me every week on a Wednesday. You will not see me past August. This is a 4-part summer chat series. So the fourth one will be August 28th. And on that one, we are going to talk about the Brooklyn venue issue. Where are the venues? Why are we losing them? Which are the ones we have? How do we keep them? Which ones do we need to support still? And all of that. All of that. Yeah, so make sure. But I think she undersold the July one. Since Kevin's not ready, I'm gonna talk about it. She can't hear me, can she? On the next one, we are going to have some artists perform. We're going to I know, she can't hear me, right? We're gonna show a short film by a Caribbean director. She's not there. We're gonna do a lot of things. We're gonna showcase the arts. BBNYC is in the building, and BBNYC does not only make T-shirts. BBNYC has a whole fashion line, and this is me right now begging BBNYC to do a little fashion show on July 24th. That's what I'm asking for. Please and thanks.
I'm here for you too.
Team Soca says they're here for me. Praise it.
Yes.
Praise it. Anyway, does anybody have any more questions about starting your business, keeping your business going? Because they're still working on. Actually, no more questions. Go shop immediately. Raise yourself. Go shop. Go see what's on. Go buy your flag T-shirt from BBNYC. Go get some accessories, some carnival, your Team Soca snapback. Go shop. That's the
We come out to rant and rave. We come out to misbehave. We come out to rant and rave. We come out to rant